September 8th, 2025. This meeting is being held in person. It can also be viewed on local cable channel 1303 or on the internet by accessing bucksportmaine.gov and selecting agendas and minutes and choosing this meeting and clicking on the video button next to the meeting. Questions or comments may be submitted during the meeting by emailing rich.rotella@bucksportmaine.gov or during the meeting by calling 307-8030. Roll call.
Mark Eastman,
Here.
Tracy here,
Here.
Paul Rebs,
Here.
Josh Tripp,
Here.
Dick Peterson,
Here.
Larry Well,
Here.
Ron Russell, John Paul Lalonde,
Here.
and Joe Devanzo.
Item 2, approve minutes from August 2025. I assume everyone had a chance to look at them. Any questions or anything to add?
We accept the minutes.
Second. Motion second. All in favor? Opposed? Item 3, update on following properties. A, 95 Heritage Park Road.
Yes, that was the one for Redmond Electric. Scott sent me an email and we're in the process of having the land returned to the town. He's not gonna move forward with the project.
All right, thank you.
And what was the project?
It was gonna be a building for his electrician business.
Item B under 3 is 27 Main Street. Pat Kane, we ask you to come up, Pat.
Love to.
Please.
Love to.
And just as an FYI for all the people here, they've all been responsive when I reached out at the committee's request at the end of winter, beginning of spring. And then again, when you asked me most recently, they've all been very responsive and are here this evening.
Okay. How are you, Pat?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Good. So, update on 27 Main Street.
Yep.
So, as you know, we lost the first season during the transfer of the property with the town's attorneys and ours, so that one was out. After that was completed, our engineer, Jeff Allen, took on the project. First step was the surveyors, get them over to locate the pins, so where that was appropriate, you know what is involved with that. Got that done, then he started his engineering for the project for exactly what I presented that we would build there. And in doing so, he discovered the water line and sewer lines that go through the property for Buck Street. Is it 12 Buck Street? I think the property above it. And also an easement for CMP for power across there. So he's been working through those. And actually, I just got the agreement with Hugh Reynolds last week.
Oh, okay.
I have to have Hugh sign it, which with my schedule and his is gonna be difficult catching up. But anyway, so Hugh was in agreement to take care of that easement and allow us to put the new lines in and connect him into ours. So if all of that goes through, we'll finish the engineering and hopefully we'll have a plan before your planning board this winter. I mean, that's the best guess I can have. I mean, it's not my calendar that we follow, so I'm dependent on others, but that's what it's looking like, and all goes well, we'll break ground in the spring. So,
Any questions from the committee?
So what created the delay in getting this agreement
agreement with,
for the easement?
for the easement, it's just timing between our lawyers, our engineer, and them contacting Mr. Reynolds, summer vacations. So that's the only delay. So no delay on our part, we're ready to go.
You're confident it's gonna move forward, Pat?
Oh, yeah. And if any point that there's a stumbling block, if it's not viable for some reason, I'll return here and we'll work it. We're not stretching you out. We're on somebody else's calendar, and if there are any problems that I don't foresee, I'll certainly be back before you or the council, whichever's appropriate, to address those, whatever they are.
So as you stand here today, what do you think the final scope will look like?
I'm confident we'll have 8 units for sure there. The biggest question is gonna be the commercial spaces that we agreed to out on Main Street. What that's gonna look like. A lot of it's gonna come down to parking requirements for all the buildings and what we can physically fit on there. So that's what he's working through, and make sure we can have a appropriate traffic flow through with those 2 commercial units. But same thing, if he comes up with a different scenario that we have to build out, I'll come back to you folks on the council, whichever is appropriate, and make sure that you're happy with what we're doing. This isn't you know, we're not gonna try to pull any wool over anybody's eyes, so.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and just for clarification, I also don't work for this company anymore, that when I represented them, but I am still staying on this project only because I gave the council my word that I would. So other than that, I don't have a stake in this anymore, but I did stand before the council and
Yeah.
ask for this, so that's why I'm here. So,
Thanks for the update. Thank
yeah,
you.
and Rich has my appropriate contact now, so you can actually find me, so.
Okay. And another question that, you know, I apologize that, I should know the answer to this. But I wasn't present when the presentation was made, and I kind of confusing it maybe with another presentation. Are these rental units or are they homes to buy?
So that'll be the final decision that'll be made, whether they're gonna be rentals or they'll either be rentals or condominiums units. So, that's a decision we'll have to make, and it'll be basically whichever is financially more viable at the end of the day, so.
Anyone else? Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you, Pat.
See you.
Item C, 75 Heritage Park Road. Josh Brayley?
Hello.
Hi there.
I've got my drawings done up. I got to do the water runoffs and stuff like that. But I am ready to go. I got Wardwell's gonna do my groundwork. So we just need to get you the water runoffs and where I'm gonna put things.
And you'll be to the planning board, you anticipate?
Yep. That's what I'm hoping next month.
Yeah, Luke, let him know by if he can get this into to him by September 22nd, it will be on the October 7th planning board meeting. Planning board's always the first Tuesday of the month. I did go up and verify, Mr. Braley's had the fill brought in, the lot's been cleared, and it's,
I've had to let it settle and stuff before I build on it. I don't want
Yep.
to waste money.
Understand that. Any other questions?
Yeah, and just a refresher, what is this project?
I own Down East Communication and Down East Lawn Care. It's kind of a storefront for communications and store my lawn care equipment and all that stuff.
I think you might know his father-in-law, Fred
Oh,
Nyquist,
yeah.
yeah.
I knew the lawn business. Wasn't sure what the project was.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Josh.
Right,
You are good to go.
not unless you want
can if
to.
you would like to.
Item C, 75 Heritage, item D, 106 Heritage Park Road. Let's see, Mike.
I don't see Mike either. I know he's working on a project in Camden. I'll give you a brief rundown of what I know and the conversations that I've had with Mike. Originally, his original proposal was to the town for 2 lots, one for his trucking business and the second for storage units. First phase was always going to be to do the trucking building. They ran into some issues with the contractor on the trucking building. He had hired the same person that Dave Mylan hired. And Dave's building went up, and then Dave's building went down, and then Dave's building went back up. And then they went to Mike's, and then there was issues with Mike's building. And by the time all that got resolved and that building opened, 2 phases of storage units were built in Orland just down the road. Mike didn't, and that third one had been proposed on that same location, so Mike didn't find it viable to do a storage unit. So then there was the talk of for his aggregate, putting a building on that site. But he hadn't settled on that yet, and according to the way that the building was built, he needs the second lot in order to get his trucks into the big bay doors that are on there, so the swing
Oh, yeah.
to go in. Now, I can't very, that's not my expertise on that, so I would defer to anyone in that type of business on how large of a swing you would need. So he has, and he does plan on putting something there, at this point right now. Yeah, trying to figure out what works best. The second lot has got aggregate all over it right now. And he's offered to purchase the lot for the value, but the town's never done that.
So is that something you're looking for a recommendation, whether there was any interest from this committee for that? Or? 'Cause we can't force them to build. Well, we could, but
Yeah, you can, because that's why he got the land.
Yeah,
You could, and then when we reviewed when Luke and I reviewed the paperwork, it did say for a trucking and aggregate business. Technically, the aggregate's on that second lot. We could ask him to build that building for the aggregate and have it stored and housed in that warehouse, or building, what have you, or an open shed style building where you can back the truck in. We can ask if he can do that. I would personally probably refrain from the selling of the lot, because I don't think that was ever the intent of the town.
when did he get the land?
a while ago.
And I will say, these guys up there, you're familiar with Dave's Auto and that building? A lot of those projects were delayed significantly due to contractors and the pandemic, supplies from the pandemic, additional costs. So he came to the council in September of 2021. And it was Blue Partners will be doing the project, and Hawes Group with Hawes Trucking, which are owned by the same people. Hawes Trucking Construction does property development for the above companies, and also trucks sells aggregate to other construction companies that develop property. Total project cost we had at $440,000, and it has well exceeded that number. Matter of fact, it's the second biggest property up there.
My thinking, not knowing the project, just going up on. We could come up with a proposal that says, yeah, you can pay for the land, but if you build a building on it in the next 2 years, you get your money back, or something. Anything to increase the opportunity for employment, anything that would move things forward. That's what that area was all about, isn't it? The industrial park.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we encourage work,
Right.
employment,
And tax base.
in tax base. Thank you. Yes. So I think that it sounds like he's a nice guy. I had never met him. And where he says, yeah, I'm willing to pay the value of the land. All right, there's something. I'm listening to Rich, and Rich is saying, no, we don't want to take the land back because that would really mess up his situation with the trucking, I believe is what I'm hearing. Okay, so I'm just trying to come up with something that would work, that the council could say, yeah, well, this is something that's unique, and what are we gonna do to try and inspire him to build a building, but at the same time, if he wants to buy the land, at least we got income coming in.
I think that he's working as a businessman, should be working over there. And I think we're doing our job over here too. We're trying to find a way to bring revenue in. He's got to worry about income and expenses and margins and trucks and all that other neat stuff as part of his business. I personally like the idea of buying the land, but I'd also like to see him put a better containment area over there to control the dirt, the gravel, the mulch, whatever, and if he wants to put a roof over it, but at least I've seen a lot of places out of state that, you know, they use these huge concrete wall blocks and build it up, and it's more contained because you've got a guy across the street that just put in a pretty impressive building, and there's other businesses down that end, and to control the stuff that could be blowing around, I don't think that would be too much to ask or be too costly to. But I like the idea, personally, I like the idea of buy the land, put a nice, better containment area in, and I understand his business decision, you know?
And he is required to pave, right?
Yes.
That's part of the equation.
It's part of the reason why I went up there is to check on the lots that have not paved and to get with Luke to have Luke put enforcement letters that they are required to pave. And I think I got one of them taken care of already, and then the others would be Mike.
Has anybody ever offered to buy the land before in the same circumstance? Like, would there be what would be the reason to not support that, do you think?
Not since I've been here. We're going to be in, I guess we'll only have one lot available, and I have a waiting list of people interested in that lot, so I guess it wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't be an issue to do that. It might come out to be a little bit more cost beneficial. I guess I'm just worried about precedents if we do a phase 3. And if we do a phase 3, we would have set the precedent that you did it for so-and-so before.
Right, that's,
But you can always put a contingency like,
One lot per person or per entity. Until the project's done, you can't get a second lot.
you can do something like that. Yeah, because what we did for Dave's Auto is we gave him 2 lots, and he built the lot in the middle. And then the same thing with the red building where Front Street Shipyard is. That building was built when Richard Ryder got the land. It was built between a line as well. So there is precedence of having the double lot and just putting one business on there, and those were done intentionally. This was more of an unintentional. The plan was always to do that, and then with everything that's happened, then it didn't work out to do the original plan.
Question on the lots.
Hmm.
You say there's one lot left,
Well, we're getting the one lot back.
one lot back. Is that near this trucking company? Is it on, adjacent to the empty lot, technically empty?
It's the one that's right next to Dave's Trucking.
Mhm.
The first one on the right-hand side when you get into the new phase 2.
No, I was only asking because if they needed more land, maybe there's some opportunity there to make one bigger, but
Yeah.
I don't know where they're located, so.
Yeah, so Mike is located between Greenhead Lobster and Maine Marine Services LLC.
Mhm.
And Mike did build 2 plans as close to the lot line of Greenhead Lobster as legally allowed.
Mhm.
And like I said, I've never driven a big truck. I don't know how those work. I've seen them coming in and out and taking these wide turns, but I don't know the whys.
So how does the legal structure of that land sit now? I mean, we use the term selling the land, does he own title to the land right now?
They get a quit claim deed. Everyone gets a quit claim deed for the land, and then we release it outright once they've met their obligations, which is paying back the cost of the land in their taxes. And a lot of the businesses had proposed numbers at or around COVID time, and costs have skyrocketed. So those initial projections that we've had on a lot of them, they're actually gonna pay their lots off a lot quicker.
do we write an expectation of a time frame into the pro forma with that?
We do, yes, we do. We also have in the covenants a time frame when things had to be built, but because these were after COVID and there was a trend of on the market, you can't get steel, you can't get this, there's no contractors, people aren't willing to work, XYZ, because Dave Mylan's building, I believe, was first. And everything followed Dave's suit on how Dave Myland and his business partner handled theirs. As a matter of fact, Dave's Sioux Force plan changed 3 different times before it went through. But it was done right, it was done to code, it was paved. I mean, everything about that project was held to the highest, and he did, but it took almost 3 years for him to get his done correctly as well. There's just not enough the correct steel contractors out there to do this. These people came from Alabama to do these projects, the first 2. And then Dave was going to hire the same guys, but he saw that these 2 had an issue and he had to do his research and find a different company to do it, so.
So then, is there a period of time that if there's no activity, the town has recourse to take the quick?
We have
claim deal?
we have a recapture provision in that, yes, if they don't fulfill, and I think that's why we've been bringing everybody here is whether or not the committee wants to do that.
But what I think I heard is that he's kind of fulfilled it. Not to what we thought he was gonna do, but he's fulfilled it because he has aggregate stored there.
Yes, yes, which was part of the first business plan as well, correct.
But there were two business plans, one for each lot.
Yeah.
One was of storage, one was
Yeah.
his trucking business.
And the trucking business
Trucking
ended up being
aggregate.
bigger, yeah. And the trucking one ended up being bigger than anticipated.
Mhm.
I mean, you could, I think he's added fill in here to build that second lot up as well, and then the aggregate went right over the top of it. And I mean, he's pretty close to Dave Mylan's lot, anyway, and you need to have 200 feet of road frontage to have two buildings, so he has precisely 200 feet.
So technically, he wouldn't have to do anything.
Technically, he wouldn't, if,
a great
because the cost of the project exceeded the cost of both of the projects that he was going to do. Technically. Technically, we're not getting what we were offered, but that second project, the storage units was gonna have one employee. So essentially, it'd be one less building, one less employee, but we're still getting more in tax dollars for a project that was a lot more than originally anticipated when he filled that out. It's the second highest building up there, behind the Greenhead Lobster. And then Dave's is third.
And other employees that work out of that
Yes.
facility? Yeah.
Yep.
No.
He's got close, between 8 and 10. And I think the original projections were less than that.
So it sounds to me like he's making a good faith offer. For something he really doesn't have to do.
Well, he's also a smart businessman. He's protecting his assets to be able to have mobility to get in and out. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Well, I liked your idea earlier, cleaning up, making sure there's barriers, that kind of stuff. If there's gonna be wind or whatever, I really don't know. I haven't been up there, but it sounds like that would be appropriate to at least make sure that's taken care of.
And then there's their provisions in this that if, when a business decides to sell, the town have to approve what goes in there, what they sell to, or,
No, I mean, there's
Is-
codes.
Is there a resale covenant or?
I don't know if one, do you, Rich?
So if in the time frame they have not fulfilled their obligation, and this happened with Waterworld, the old crab place, it got sold out from Lajunas to the next owner, and the town council had to approve that transfer. And they did, so then it worked as Waterworld 2. And then she had satisfied I think that was a 16-year note. She had satisfied that, and once she did, she put the building up for sale, and then the town didn't have any recourse at that time because she had met her obligation of the value of the land.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, by us not selling it outright to them, is it protecting the town's interest more?
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah. Interesting. Because
I mean,
that would,
Yes.
I agree with what you're saying, I'm just,
it would sort of take that covenant, it would eliminate that requirement, wouldn't it, if we
I would
sold
think.
it? Yeah. Yeah,
Well, if we sold it, we'd satisfy the revenue on the parcel.
There you go.
If you sold it, you would satisfy, yes, so then the covenant would no longer be,
Yeah.
it would be null and void.
oh, because what you said, the covenant's only there until they pay it off.
Correct. Yeah.
So it doesn't change.
So yeah,
much.
so actually, yes, looking at it at that point.
Yep.
It technically would make sense, especially since the value of the lot today is a lot more than the value of the lot when we agreed to sell the lot.
Is that what the price would be, the value today or the value when,
What would the committee's pleasure be?
well, that's what I don't know.
Um,
Do you know the value of the lot today versus, and you don't need to go
I
jump on that.
I have it on my computer.
I mean, I think it'd be good at least to find a medium. I wouldn't think, I don't know about the value of the day we made the decision.
Right.
The other thing, do you wanna set that precedent?
But, I mean, if he needs it to run his existing business, I don't know, we can't, kneecap him for,
But didn't he know that when he got that first lot?
he did. I don't know if it was, I don't know where the, the need, he didn't need it in the beginning, right, for the turning, but something changed.
Correct. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the dimensions. I have the dimensions that he proposed, but I do not know the dimensions that he brought forth to the planning board. Sometimes those things change and either get bigger or smaller.
Sure.
But realizing that the project far exceeded what he had asked for, either the cost of raw materials went up significantly, or there was a misvalue in the cost, or he built it bigger than anticipated.
And as far as, go ahead, Tracy.
I was kind of rethinking that we shouldn't do it at what it was at inception of contract, but I'm thinking real estate and not tax revenue, so I'm rethinking my thought on that process. Just because really for us, it's to capture the tax revenue promise and the purpose of the arrangement in the first place.
Right.
So disregard my first comment about
Okay.
at inception of contract.
What would the tax revenue be if he had built the storage facilities?
I mean, what do you anticipate? It's probably twice that now.
Yeah. We do this, lot 2, lot 3. Lot 3 is 7,200 square feet. Lot 3 was the trucking business. Lot 2 was 6,000 to 8,000 square feet. Estimated total of the assessment was 508,860, but that was a combined of the two projects. I'd have to get to that for you. I'd have to provide that.
I'd just
to
be
you.
interested to know
Yeah.
what, so the council can make a good decision
Mhm.
on moving forward. It sounds like this gentleman is a good business person trying to do the right thing.
Mm.
And as a town, we have to try and do the right thing, whatever that is. I don't know what that is right now, but with all the facts, we can make a good choice.
Yeah, the number of employees total was 6 employees. The mill rate was 16.25%, and the value of the land was 54,430, and that was 4 years ago, with the project being paid off in 6.5 years.
I mean, it's a good faith offer, as you said. I'm concerned a little bit about precedent, just what happens when the next person has an unusual circumstance. And as long as we could clearly articulate and identify why we would move forward with this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can do a little bit more research and bring it back next month.
Okay. I'm fine.
Get you guys more facts and figures.
And see if he had, I mean, maybe we can get him in at that point and see if he has any ideas for what he might build there on that vacant lot.
Yeah, because the buildings were gonna come in at a combined total of 400,000. The land value was gonna be 106, so the total project was gonna be 506,000. And I can
And
tell
he's
you without a
over that.
shadow of a doubt, he is well above that just on the one parcel.
Yeah.
Well above that.
Okay.
There are so many people in this situation. It's a nightmare
Yeah,
with construction costs.
So the valuation on the property is the two parcels together.
yes. I'm gonna go.
We cannot really break out what the value
Should be
is
able
on
to.
that.
I think I'm gonna go through his entire folder. I'm just looking, I don't have my entire computer on my phone. just have a single page document that, in case I needed brief description, and for some reason the full thing didn't, I thought the whole file would come up, but it didn't. So, I'll get the whole file, and I believe it is broken down by each one. And I think what we had done was if he wanted to combine the lot, but, combine the two lots, and that's where the 200 square feet conversation came in with him. So, because we ran into that, a similar scenario with,
You mean the road
with
frontage?
Dave, yeah, the road frontage, excuse me, yeah, we come into a similar scenario with Dave, and Dave chose to combine it into one lot. And then he had to get a variance from the planning board, because he built down the middle because of the way that the, fenced in area for the vehicles had to be.
Is that a better route to take than purchasing it outright to work with a variance?
Well, that doesn't bring any, it doesn't address the
yeah,
revenue
yeah.
or the
Right, 'cause-
satisfying his obligation.
Cause we should still get revenue from
For
that
sure,
other
yeah,
lot, even
yeah.
though he's far exceeded what he said on lot one, what that essentially does is it essentially pays off
Yeah.
his obligation to the town sooner, which is in his benefit. He proposed paying for the lot.
Mhm.
I hadn't thought of it, and I've been mulling it over since we had that conversation 3 weeks ago. And I'm all about precedence and, but we do have that they do, if they satisfy the tax requirement, that we give them the lot. So where there's only potentially one left, and the initial conversation with getting a phase 3 isn't going anywhere at this point, with the property owner.
If you paid for, well, how much would it be right now if you had to?
I-
if you
I don't have
can't
that
even
figure.
Pick a figure?
You know, because
You're the economic director here.
Well, it'd be the,
I'm not the tax
I mean,
assessor, and the
we're
tax
looking
numbers
at
haven't
the
been put
assessed
up on the,
value.
yeah.
Good comeback.
But, the lot was 53,560 in
4 years.
2021.
Right.
And it's gone,
probably 65, something like that now.
I would say that's probably pretty close, it's probably a safe bet to say. I mean, I have it on my computer because I downloaded it, but it hasn't been updated to GIS, so I can't easily pull it up, and I can't pull it up from my phone.
Yep.
But I can get you more information so we can make a more informed decision.
Hey, that's close to an employee's wages. Just,
No, it's not nothing.
yeah, it's not nothing.
All right, so we're gonna table this for now.
Just one, maybe it's under other business, but it's pertaining to the lots out there. So we have, 95 is the one that's available now.
Well, it's in process, but yes, that's the one that's headed that way.
Will be, yep. So what is the procedure? I assume that you'll get a proposal, they'll come before us, and we make a recommendation to the.
Yes.
And, are there expectations that they're gonna create X number of jobs, or what do we use as a decision tree of, whether this is a good project or not?
So what we've used in the past, prior to me getting here, when it was with Dave, was the project itself and employees. And every one of those original. So remember, the industrial park itself does not start from Osborne's. The industrial park itself starts from Berry Septic and moves forward. So every lot in that original phase is not owned by the original owner. Every single lot has been empty at one point or another. In phase 2, this committee approved Greenhead Lobster, 50 employees, X amount of investment in the community. Pemaquid Mussel, which got the biggest lot of any of the lots because of the wetland issue we ran into, because in phase 1, the town reached its limit. And because the subdivision is owned, both subdivisions are owned by the town and they abut each other, we were handicapped in the amount of wetlands that could be disturbed without having to have a phase 2 assessment and costs associated with it. So we thought it would be best to put a smaller project like Pemaquid Mussel, since 75% of the wetlands in phase 2 resided on that parcel of land. So that was a smaller project, and that had 4 employees. So Did the committee set aside a number of employees? No. What it was looking at was, is it going to retain or create jobs and the investment in the community? And that has varied in all the projects up there. Now, Dave's wasn't interesting because Dave's was out on off of Bucks Mills, and then he was in Ellsworth. So he moved his Bucksport location into the industrial park, but also took parts of the Ellsworth operations and moved them back to Bucksport. So not only did we retain jobs in this manner, we also created more because it took a department from Ellsworth and brought it to Bucksport. So the committee's kind of been, because retaining jobs is equally, it's a lot cheaper to retain than it is to go find a new.
So the Josh's project, how many jobs is that creating?
Communication. Let me try. Down East Lawn Care is the other one. I'm almost positive it's under Down East. It is not coming up in my file right now. He had X number of employees for one business and Y number for the other business. So he had a combined for the two. It was less than a half a dozen. So, and how many housed out of that building? I know it was for storage for the lawn equipment, and it would be taking those employees from Orland and bringing them to Bucksport, but they're not housed. I mean, they're not housed in Orland. They're not going to be housed in Bucksport. The only employees would be housed would be the communications.
The reason I'm wondering, and I'm not water over dam. I'm not. There was. I know there was a proposal at one time with another lawn care business out there, maybe before your time, and it was turned down because they didn't see how it was bringing in the employees because the lawn business didn't need that space.
Yeah.
You know, but so I was just curious.
Yeah, I think he had it under the communications was the primary, and then the
more
lawn
of
care
a-
was storage.
I would
Yeah.
imagine. And the only other thing, and then I'll.
You're good.
It's just a clarification for the public, if there's any public watching. That you use the term, this committee approved. This community doesn't approve. the
Recommendation. Yes, thank you. Yes, recommendation. That is correct. My apologies. Yes, thank you for correcting me. That is correct. We only make recommendations and the council approves.
Yep.
The only thing this committee approves is the monies allocated that would go to the groups if we so chose, if the committee so chose to fund them, like the comedian. That's a very good clarifying point.
Okay. Item 4, items not on the agenda for the public or the committee. Why don't we start with the public? Committee.
Question
Yes.
for the economic director.
Yeah.
What do we have going on in town? Oceans, there's one, okay. What's happening else? I mean, we are the economic committee here,
Yeah.
so help us understand.
Clouds is gonna be reopening, or?
Yes, that's gonna be, McLeod's is gonna be Stowaways. We've been working with Rob,
Stowaways?
Stowaways, yeah, and Ugly's Bar. So the bar itself will have a name and the restaurant will be Stowaways. Rob, I think it was about June, George McLeod did a fantastic job. So George owned the business and he was very thorough. He didn't just sell it to anybody. He was concerned about the image, concerned about the town, and he met with Rob, and when the time was right, Rob came in, met with myself, Luke, Jacob. This would be sometime back in June. I wanted to see how things ran, so I went to an impromptu dinner down at his restaurant called Castaways in Stonington, and this person just happened to meet and greet outside and nice first impression, blah, blah, blah. And the person I was with said, this looks like somewhere down in, Nervous Nelly's down in Fort Myers, Florida. I think it's Fort Myers. Anyway, he owns that one. So we got into a conversation with him, and before it was even remotely going to be public or anything, he was telling everyone in attendance, including his employees, that he was buying McLeod's and he was going to be opening up here. He introduced me to the head chef. So yeah, that project started in June, and I think the community found out in September.
Did you buy the building or just the business?
I don't know the full financial details on it. I know at first the hiccup was the entire building. He wanted to run a restaurant and not all. I'm not sure what the final terms were with George on that.
Interesting. I like the fact that they fixed the front already. It's looking nice.
And it hasn't sold, I can say, I haven't seen a sale.
There you go. All right,
And he's expanded the bathrooms. The bathrooms are larger.
good,
Yeah.
good.
The method of cooking is going to be a little bit different than the way George did it. George had open flame grill. This is more of like a Blackstone.
Yep.
So keep humidity heat down and everything in the building. So a lot of the plumbing stuff has been redone in there. He's working on the rest of the inside now, so he's making an impact. He's going to open October 1st.
When does Sweet Cheeks open up? I've seen some nice pictures from them online.
Yes.
Doing the, changing out the refrigeration area.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like they're just doing a A1 service up there.
Yep, they were up there again today when I went up to the industrial park, and they are coming to the council, I believe this Thursday, for a liquor license. I helped them fill out all their paperwork about 3 weeks ago, expecting it to have been done at the last council meeting, but permits haven't gotten paid yet, so that will be coming forward now. Then you have to wait for the state to do its thing, so my assumption is it'd be prior to October 1st.
Okay.
And then, of course, as you know, Crosby's and Carriers will be getting ready. They're seasonal. Crosby's just announced a little under 3 weeks they'll be closing for the season. Carriers tries to go till October. The Dairy Port will be closing.
The 21st.
Yeah, my daughter's birthday, so yeah, they'll be.
I saw that. I try to stay up on some things.
Yes, so you've got that going on. Whole Oceans, I've been in contact with Whole Oceans as recently as today. More people are interested in their lot. I had asked a question about 2.5 weeks ago on where we stood. And I was told we'd have some potential news in the fall, which we were going to have in the summer, which we were going to have in the spring. So there's been a lot of people interested in the lot, and we continue to forward. I'm trying to interject and have the town be part of these conversations, but when you're talking business deals, not everybody's on board with that, and Whole Oceans really does not want us to be part of those deals.
Are
So
you seeing any themes in who's reaching out to you and types of businesses?
Mhm.
Hopefully not
obvious-
landfills.
not landfills, not landfills.
It's all right, I was just curious if there was
Yeah.
some patterns.
There's
surfacing.
patterns, and I will say the grant that we got from the state of Maine for that site is really what sparked it. And Bucksport, Maine is on the top of the majority of their wish list, even though the property is owned by Whole Oceans. And the initial conversation I have with these developers is that the town does not own the land, but will do what we can to help foster communication between all the parties involved.
You say the grant from the state, man, the ADAPT
No,
money?
No, ADAPT was federal money. That was through the EPA. We got a grant for MESRP. It was from the Department of Economic and Community Development from the state, and it was relating to power and having industrial land. So I wasn't pursuing the Whole Oceans lot or anywhere on the mill site because we don't own any part of that. But I did know that the Sprague North property was available, and with the law that had passed and the proximity, it fell within the 5 miles. You could transmit over, and if the power plant did it after the reading, you can eliminate T&D charges and all that good stuff. But it didn't seem like it was very viable when I'm discussing. So I had given I took a step back from it, and then Jera Americas, who bought the power plant from Ironclad, had applied for the grant, but they couldn't apply for the grant because it was municipality. So we got together and we worked on the grant together, Susan and myself, and then we added Jacob when Jacob rejoined the team, and then Jera's America and their team had joined, and we worked with our advisors, HRNA advisors, and there were 6 communities in Maine, including Wiscasset, Millinocket, Lincoln, and a couple of others, and this report's been very beneficial. This last entity I've spoken with last week, he called me this weekend. We spoke again today. He spoke with the governor's office and the governor's office on highly recommended Bucksport and the site for its potential use. So of the 100 or so communities that they're working with, they put Bucksport, Maine as number 1 on their list.
We did get an update on the PPI federal funding, and I think it would be helpful, because I had a business owner ask me this weekend, they were holding off their schedule mistakenly for next spring, their performance schedule at the Crumpet, because they thought that because the workers have been in town, that they thought that project would be digging up, and even though it's not like Searsport, we have an alternative, but that funding appears to be held, and not. Rich is gonna hopefully, I don't know if you wanted to share that with the committee so
No,
we
we
can
can,
just get
yeah.
it out on broadcast. that-
Yes, and I will say I have not responded yet, and I've been right out all day today. So we're looking to get similar funding as we got for the town dock project and the 25 season, which we did this in February of this year. The monies are being delayed from the federal government, so they're asking to help mobilize the senators, congressional representatives, and other public servants to advocate for the release of these funds. So they're looking for letters of recommendation, letters to be sent to Congressman Golden, Senator Collins, and Senator King to try to expedite through some of these funds there. And this one in particular as well also was the BDO zone one as well that we had gone requested funding for. So there's just a little bit of a delay through the federal government on the releasing of these funds, and I will be responding after to have a conversation with Jacob to make sure it's appropriate.
How we doing on the town dock? You know, the wharfs, the new ones going in.
The NEPA part of that is the final aspect that needs to be completed. We got an update roughly 2 weeks ago that they do not need to come in person, which is a positive sign. I was originally told it'd be about a 12-month process, and we're getting ready to go on to month number 14. I've had 5 different people that I've reported to for this grant because of all the changes with the federal government since January. And since January, I've had 4. When we originally got the grant last year, I had the same person, but now it's 4, and it's...
So there is no timeline at this point except for money, when it comes.
We
in.
have to 2031 to spend the money once we get it, but we can't put anything out to bid until the last step of that is done through NOAA.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a huge improvement for the marina.
It's not the marina, it's the town dock.
I understand,
Yeah,
but I mean, just the image, getting that all in there is huge.
it will. And they requested when we were doing funding, the engineers put in a 8% contingency, and I went behind them and changed it to 15 because I saw what was going on in the industrial park, and I know there's a lot of projects going on, so the 4.1 million should still be good till, my anticipation is till 2028.
Yep.
So even though we may not begin work until 2026 and completion in 2027, because you only have a period of time you can work and disturb the riverbed, and that's between November 6th and roughly November 6th and April 9th. So yeah, I think we're about another year away, unfortunately, because you have to go through the bid and then get the materials, construct the docks, then they'll be brought in by barge.
That's too bad. But,
Yeah.
okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, and we have a couple of projects working on US Route 1. I've been spending some time with the Maine Department of Transportation. Apparently, they are telling these businesses, due to the amount of traffic that they may or may not generate, that we may need to create a center lane, sort of like what you have if you're coming from Ellsworth to McDonald's, and then on the Bucksport side, by the traffic light and by Family Dollar. So one of the projects I believe can probably handle it. The other, it might destroy that project, and I've been working on that one since January of this year. Because it not only is at their cost, it also takes away land. Remember, you don't own in front of where you are. The state owns 33 feet off the center line. So it would displace current sidewalks, which would then need to be rebuilt as well. I did find out when I got to the final person I spoke with that there's another term called a BPI, which is a business partnership initiative, which could help with the cost of that. 33% DOT, 33% business, and 33% municipality. And I told them the town doesn't have any money, so they said it would be 33% DOT and 66% business. But we're still waiting on traffic counts for those two businesses.
That kind of makes their project dead in the water.
It very well potentially could. We do have a representative who represents us in Augusta, who I've been in constant contact with over the weekends, on Fridays, again today. That I'm waiting for the numbers from the developers, and if this seems to be a hiccup, when he has a meeting, since he is on the transportation committee, to kindly remind him that the state has a $1 billion surplus and that the town of Bucksport has been very compliant and a willing partner in every project, including Central Street and every single wall that the DOT owns in this town.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not just gonna roll over and give up, but
You've been busy.
yeah, I've called Augusta more times than I wish to. I mean, these projects take long, and the public doesn't see how long these take, but I can tell you these will be a major boost in the arm to the town of Bucksport, and just realize that things do not happen overnight.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know of anything going on at Bangor Savings?
the
The reason I ask is that, I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you tell me first?
I was just, I was working on the back of our garage and noticed some surveyors behind our property, and so I was trying to help them out with where there's monuments and stuff. And they were surveyors from upstate New York, surveying for Bangor Savings.
I don't know the full answers, but we've gotten those questions. I've gotten questions asking about the zoning, signs, land use, which of course falls under zoning, by multiple different entities. I don't want to speculate what's happening over there because I don't know. I haven't had conversation with Bangor Savings Bank. I have worked in banking prior to my career here for 13 years. I've been part of different. I worked for MBNA, which turned into Bank of America, which turned into let's have our land surveyed, and then instead of owning the buildings, we leased. I also worked for Camden National Bank, where we bought out the Bank of Maine, and you can't have the same bank can't be so close to each other because it's not New York City, it's not San Francisco, it's not LA. So we ended up selling one of our locations at the Augusta Civic Center. We had a Camden National Bank and a Bank of Maine literally across the driveway from each other. So we sold that to, I don't remember now, like the First or somebody maybe. Those are potential reasons why. Camden National Bank had surveys done a while ago, and that was to check on the wall that they had. So it could be maybe property maintenance. So I don't know.
What's the physical location?
of,
Where they're doing the survey.
well, they were just looking for a
Monuments.
marker up here so they could,
Yes, but
They- they-
where was this? I mean,
Bangor Savings Bank.
yes, I understand, that's who it is, the physical address.
The one on Main Street
Main
in
Street.
Bucksport.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
but they're not looking to expand.
We don't know.
No, I wouldn't say they would. I don't see much room there to expand.
No, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
so they were doing a survey somewhere, and I'm just asking where that survey was. I don't know the exact location.
I mean, they were looking for monuments away from the boundaries of Bangor Savings. Like, I believe they're like historical monuments towards surveying.
To get the survey started, yeah, probably.
And I even went and pulled my, survey when I bought our property to help them out. I mean,
Maybe we're getting a fancy Bangor savings like on the waterfront in Bangor.
It'll be a nice big surprise.
All right,
Yeah, so a couple of options that maybe,
Uh-huh.
they may be, yeah. Interesting.
Yep, and in all my free time, I set a goal for myself. Last month, I completed 10 hours of advertising for the businesses in Bucksport. And my goal this month was, in August, was 40 hours, and I well exceeded that number.
I think I've heard from the community, that's really helpful. You've been posting, I noticed, what restaurants are open on a particular day, and I think that's helpful for people.
I didn't get to it today, though. I feel absolutely awful. I've been in meetings all day long, so I missed today. But yes, I did it for
You're one person.
about 2 weeks straight. Yeah. Yeah, without having the enterprise, it's been a real big hit to the
It has,
community
yeah.
for that stuff. But
well, we need to have a school newspaper.
Add that to your budget.
All right.
yeah. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Rich, thank you very much, that was a good report. It sounds like a
a lot
lot
of
of
work.
positive things going on.
A lot of positive things. Reached out to a few more businesses as well, just trying to see what sticks. Fill up Park Street. So.
Here comes Mike right here.
Oh.
All right, so schedule next meeting, what is it, October what?
Well, October would happen to be a holiday. That
Oh.
is Indigenous Peoples' Day, would be October 13th. So, and I know Dr. Tripp has preset meetings for different committees on certain days. Like the first one is usually, I think, curriculum is the first Monday, if I'm not wrong.
No, Mondays typically
Oh,
are
good.
good until
Budget
springtime, and then budget season becomes
what it is.
complicated, yeah.
So I mean, we could move it up to the 6th if the committee like, or we could move it to a week after on the 20th, or you could pick a different day if you like. We would have to meet because I promised you that information for the Haas project.
You wanna do the 6th?
Sure.
I got jury duty, but I'll
Ooh.
be out by 6.
Susan
That's
does
makes
too.
a question.
Huh?
My wife does too.
She have to show up on the 29th?
Yeah.
I'll bring her coffee. It's the most inconvenient week at work
Oh
to
my.
not be able
Oh
to
my.
predict
Yeah.
the schedule.
Yeah.
But they, keep this meeting in order, sorry.
It's all right. All right, so item 6.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?